Amina Washington stepped into the gleaming lobby of Hamilton Industries, a mop in one hand and a bucket in the other. Her dark skin and natural curls framed her face, radiating a quiet confidence beneath the surface of her calm demeanor. Dressed in the plain blue uniform of the cleaning staff, her ID badge clipped at her side, Amina's sharp, observant eyes scanned her surroundings. But don't be fooled by appearances. Amina is not just here to clean. She's here to rewrite the rules of the game. What you're about to witness is the story of a woman who defied all expectations, a woman who took control of a corporate empire from the ground up. Before we dive in, if you're ready to see what happens when power is reclaimed from those who underestimate us, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this. You don't want to miss how this tale unfolds. Amina Washington stepped into the gleaming lobby of Hamilton Industries, a mop in one hand and a bucket in the other. Her dark skin and natural curls framed her face, radiating a quiet confidence beneath the surface of her calm demeanor. Dressed in the plain blue uniform of the cleaning staff, her ID badge clipped at her side, Amina's sharp, observant eyes scanned her surroundings. To anyone glancing her way, she was just another invisible worker, easily overlooked by the fast-paced executives bustling by in their tailored suits. The lobby, a symbol of power and corporate success, had marble floors polished to perfection, reflecting the soft golden light from a chandelier that hung overhead. The walls were adorned with sleek modern art and framed photographs celebrating the company's milestones. Amina paused for a moment, taking it all in. This was the empire she had once admired from a distance. But today, she was here for something far greater than admiration. Today, she would experience it from the ground up, where few would ever expect someone like her to be, especially not in this capacity. As Amina made her way to the janitor's closet to gather her supplies, she noticed the hierarchy in action. Lower-level employees moved quickly, heads down, eager to please and to not be seen. Meanwhile, the executives walked with an air of untouchable authority, barely acknowledging anyone outside their circle. She exchanged polite nods with a few staff members who offered brief, somewhat dismissive smiles before hurrying back to their work. Most didn't even notice her, and that, she knew, was just fine. In fact, it was perfect. When Amina reached the closet, she stopped for a moment, her full lips curling into a secretive smile. This was the moment she had planned for months, no, years. What no one knew was that she had quietly and strategically acquired the majority shares of Hamilton Industries. Avoiding any public attention, she'd played her hand with precision. Today, she wasn't here as a mere cleaner. She was here to understand her company from the perspective of those who kept it running, the people often overlooked, just like she had been. Her rise had been anything but typical. Raised by her mother, a woman who had worked 2 jobs cleaning houses and offices much like this one, Amina had learned early that the world often saw black women as expendable, invisible labor. But her mother had also taught her that strength came from understanding your worth, even when others didn't. Amina had taken those lessons to heart, pushing herself through college and business school, mastering the rules of a system that wasn't built for her, all while keeping one goal in mind: control her destiny. Today, that destiny was in her hands. Grabbing a rag and spray bottle, she wheeled her cart down the hallway toward the elevators. As she passed through the bustling corridors, she overheard snippets of conversation about deadlines, meetings, and the usual office politics. But there were also whispers, the ones that made her heart tighten. The rumors about the new cleaning lady, her. "Did you see the new janitor?" a young receptionist whispered to her colleague as Amina passed by. "I don't think I've seen her before." The colleague shrugged, her tone dripping with casual condescension. "She'll probably be gone in a week. You know how these executives treat the help. They barely see them." "Yeah," the receptionist agreed, her voice hushed. "It's like they're invisible or something." Amina's grip on the cart tightened slightly, but her face remained composed. "Invisible," she thought. "Exactly what I'm counting on." She rode the elevator to the top floor, where the executive offices overlooked the rest of the building. She had always known that power didn't just sit in the numbers on a spreadsheet, nor in the titles on office doors. Power, real power, came from understanding the game from every angle, especially from the bottom, where people were too often written off. Today, she would get an intimate view of how this place ran, how they thought they could dismiss her, just as they had dismissed so many others. As the doors opened, Amina stepped into the world of polished suits and crisp ties. Through the glass walls of the boardroom, she could see the leadership team of Hamilton Industries seated around a grand table. There they were, the masters of the universe, who believed their successes had been earned through nothing but their own hard work. She studied their faces. These were men who had no idea how precarious their control really was. At the head of the table sat Nathan Pierce, the CEO. His silver hair was swept back neatly, and he wore an expensive navy suit that seemed to scream dominance. His smile was the type that conveyed confidence, maybe even a bit of arrogance. Around him were his trusted lieutenants. James, the CFO, who had a reputation for cutting costs without a second thought for the people behind the numbers. Richard, the head of marketing, the smooth talker who spun grand stories about the company's success, and Oliver, the operations manager, known for his no-nonsense, sometimes abrasive approach to efficiency. Together, they were the self-anointed architects of Hamilton's success. Or so they thought. As Amina moved closer to the boardroom, she overheard their conversation. They were laughing about a recent merger and the hefty bonuses they were expecting. Nathan leaned back in his chair, tapping his fingers on the table with a satisfied grin. "Hard work pays off, doesn't it?" he said, casting a glance around the room, clearly pleased with himself. James chuckled, lifting his glass. "More like smart work. We know how to play the game." Richard leaned back in his chair, a smirk on his face. "Yeah, smart work. It's not like that janitor downstairs. Imagine her looking at us in our suits, knowing this is as close as she'll ever get." Oliver's voice oozed disdain. "Some people are just born to scrub floors and clean up after the rest of us. Life's not fair." Their laughter rang out, loud and self-assured. To them, Amina was nothing more than the help, an invisible part of the office scenery. They had no idea that the woman they were laughing at was the one who now controlled their futures. Amina's face remained calm, her hands steady as she wiped the windows outside the boardroom. But inside, she was filing away every word, every insult, every moment of their arrogance. These men thought they had built an empire on their brilliance alone, but in truth, they had built it on the backs of people like her mother, people who had worked themselves to the bone with no recognition. Today, Amina was here to take her rightful place. They had no idea how the world around them was about to change. Later, as she continued her rounds, she overheard two interns whispering near the break room. They spoke nervously about the pressure they felt working for Hamilton, the fear of making a mistake that could cost them their careers. One of them, a young black woman with tight braids, glanced at Amina, her eyes filled with a quiet sort of empathy. "Don't let them get to you," the intern said softly. "They act like they run the world, but they don't know everything." Amina smiled at the young woman, feeling a deep connection. She had been in this intern's shoes once, full of ambition but constantly reminded of her place. "Thank you," Amina said, her voice warm and knowing. Sometimes the ones who think they know everything are the ones with the most to learn. As she continued down the hall, Amina couldn't help but think about how little anyone here suspected. She had spent years building her strategy, studying every detail, every flaw in the system. Today, they saw a cleaning lady. Tomorrow, they would see her for who she really was, the woman who would flip their world upside down. The next morning, Amina returned to the office, once again donning the plain blue uniform. But today, there was an unmistakable fire in her eyes. She passed through the lobby with the same quiet grace, but inside, she was brimming with anticipation. The time for silence was over. As she ascended to the executive floor, she noticed the tension in the air. The executives were already gathered for their morning meeting, undoubtedly plotting their next moves. But what they didn't know was that today, Amina would make her own. She pushed the door to the boardroom open, her posture as confident as ever. At first, none of them looked up, just the cleaning lady again. But when she didn't move to clean the windows or sweep the floors, Nathan frowned, his impatience bubbling to the surface. "What is it?" he asked, his voice clipped and dismissive. Amina's gaze locked onto his, unblinking. "Actually, Mr. Pierce, I'm here for the meeting," she said coolly. The room fell into a stunned silence. Nathan's brow furrowed in confusion. "The meeting?" he echoed, glancing around at his colleagues as if to confirm that no one else understood what was happening. Amina reached into her pocket, pulling out a folded piece of paper. She calmly placed it on the table in front of Nathan. "Yes," she replied, her voice steady and calm. "The meeting where I inform you that, as of this morning, I am the majority shareholder of Hamilton Industries." Nathan's face drained of color. He grabbed the paper with shaking hands, his eyes darting over the words as if searching for some mistake. Some way, this couldn't be real. But it was. This is impossible," he stammered, his voice trembling. "How did you—" Amina crossed her arms, her chin held high. "While you were busy laughing at people like me, I was making moves, quietly, strategically, and now I hold the controlling shares of this company." Richard leaned forward, his face a mix of confusion and fear. "This has to be some kind of joke," he muttered. "You can't just—" "Oh, but I can," Amina interrupted smoothly. "For too long, you've led this company with arrogance and a complete disregard for the people who actually make it run. But today, all of that changes. Today, Hamilton Industries belongs to me." The executives sat in stunned silence. The power they had believed was theirs, untouchable and absolute, was slipping from their grasp, and they had no idea how to respond. Amina smiled, a smile that spoke of patience, of long planning, of justice finally being served. "From now on, things will be different. You see, I'm not here to play your game. I'm here to change it. Now it's your turn. What would you do if given the chance to rewrite the rules of your life? If this story inspired you, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment below. Tell us how you'd take control of your destiny, and stay tuned for more stories that remind us all of the power we hold when we refuse to be invisible.